All right,
I feel like
guys,
bringing
we
in a
are
lot of viewers.
back, and we're gonna take your questions at this point.
Whoops.
What? What?
Wait, are we back?
Yeah, we're back.
Okay, continue. Go on.
All right, we're gonna take your questions, and again, guys, we're gonna just start from the top, vote for the question that you want to be asked the most, and we're gonna be reading them off. And today it's kind of light show, so we'll go through a bunch of them. All right, Riff King, I read this earlier. He wants to know more about the whole Twitch front page thing, kind of continuing on our talk last week, and in particular, he talks about Wednesday Night Sprites being on front page, and basically just wants to know the detail. Like, he just wants to know the details.
Bay Street TV, the guy that cast a bunch.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Bay Street
Wait, are we
TV.
on the questions already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a light week, man.
Wait, what the fuck? We got other things to talk about.
What do you want to talk about? You want to talk? Okay, what do you want to talk
Oh,
about?
fuck, there were other things to talk about. I forgot them. Oh, no. Oh, Meta. Meta was on.
All right, you want to talk meta? All right, you want to talk meta first. All right, we'll get to your
really
question.
To talk about, though. I'm sorry. That would just be roasting our toes for no reason.
There's gonna be a bunch of there's gonna be a bunch of topics in these questions. All right, so don't even worry.
Wait. Last one. I'm sorry. I have one thing to bring up. Okay.
What?
If you go to destiny.gg and you scroll down to the blog section, I have the results posted to my second composition challenge, and I posted my third composition challenge. However, there is a new twist on the third composition challenge. I'm now giving $100 away to first place and $50 away to second place. If you've ever done basically, I really like the submissions and I want more because it's fucking awesome. So basically, the way it works is I post a little snippet of music. You take that music, you remix it, rearrange it, whatever the fuck you want to do to make your own beautiful piece based off of that. And then whoever's I like the most will get $100 right to their PayPal. And then whoever I like the second most gets $50.
Also, for those folks that are going to be competing in that too, I'm looking for some community folks too to make some more of this intro music, because I love the music that I have right now, but I'd also love to have the community kind of submit some things too that we can feature on Unfiltered leading into the shows and stuff too. So just throw that in there. But composition challenge number 3, I have it up here, guys. So go to destiny.gg, blog.destiny.gg. It's the latest blog entry here, and then you can click a link to it and win.
So what did they get for the second one? Did they get money too?
$50.
For the first, no.
Oh.
Desert meant for the second challenge, not for second place. The first two just like recognition, like I like their shit and whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Some really good ones too. Like you guys should just check out some of the old ones too. Got some talented viewer fans out there for sure. Okay, anything else, Steven?
No, I think we're good. I'm sorry, I'm done.
It's all good. All right, let's go into viewer questions. All right, Riff King, question about a front page. All right, so to answer your question about Wednesday Night Sprites, and basically he just wants to know how do we get on front page. There's no application, all that stuff, and we're talking about just. I think last week people were talking about who's dick to suck and shit like that on for Twitch to get on there. In my particular case, I can tell you that there were certain people at Twitch that respected just the shows that I do each and every week, and they don't really sponsor shows. You know, they sponsor events and things like that around the community, but they don't sponsor shows. So this, having some of my stuff on front page, they won't put Unfiltered on front page though, for certain reasons, of course. But some of my other shows are on front page because it's kind of their way of sponsoring the work I do, and that's kind of my particular case. So Wednesday Night Sprites, same deal, and that's how it is. Other people, I don't know. I've heard other people approached by certain people at Twitch, and I don't know. I think some people are throwing out friends of people at Twitch. It is subjective to an extent, and it's up to them. They can put whatever they want up there. It's not a meritocracy necessarily. So, yeah. Hopefully that answers your question about that. Next up, we got Destiny from Junho C. You said that you're going to jump into promising games like Heroes of the Storm before other streamers to rack up viewers, kind of like Trump with Hearthstone. While Starbow has been getting a good bit of attention, you haven't been streaming it. Does it mean you don't see it as a promising game?
I mean, it might be, but I just don't. Fuck, I hate learning like new games. If I'm doing stuff like competitively, I hate learning new games. Like, I don't mind playing like a fun game, like to play like DayZ or to play like an FPS or like Dark Souls or whatever. I don't mind like taking a break to play fun games like that. But I cannot just play like one game that's like really competitive for like a little bit. If I'm gonna play something, like I have to start dumping a lot of time into it.
Fair enough. All right, watching Meta. Let's see, from Muse Yace. I don't know how to pronounce that. Muse Yace. all the non-Zork players said that they just vetoed the new maps because they seemed awful after playing 1 or 2 games. Isn't this destructive for map innovation?
Yes,
Des,
it's
take this
dumb.
one. Yeah.
The new maps are really good for the meta, and just, people don't like change, but they're just being stupid. Like, I actually vetoed all the maps from the last season so I could play the new maps as much as possible. And yeah, they're hard, and yeah, they might not be the most balanced when you look at them right now, but people will figure things out. Like, I fucking won, qualified for Challenger on Daedalus versus Zerg. People would call me crazy, but it works. I had more confidence on that map than Alterzine because I didn't play enough on Alterzine. But they should just suck it up and play with the practice partners because they're not going away. And I really like what Blizzard's doing, and I hope Blizzard adds Pro League maps too. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And
Steve
no,
is
the
just
fact
saying
that
it.
I'm Protoss, like the maps are worse for Protoss. There's no Watchtower. It's not as easy. The gold is not that good for Protoss compared to Terran and compared to Zerg. So yeah, fuck you, the guy that's blaming Protoss.
So there's actually
watch
like a
it,
couple
chat.
things that work. So I used to be in the former camp, and now I'm definitely in Desert's camp. Programmers are really, really, really bad to talk to when it comes to like maps and balance and whatnot, because programmers don't want what's best for the entertainment aspect of the game. Because what's the most entertaining, like on one end of the extreme, the most entertaining thing for viewers is extreme unpredictability, like where anything can fucking happen and like it's crazy as fuck, right? Obviously, maybe that's not the best, in the long term, but for viewers, that's typically what they'd like, right? And programmers on the other end of the opposite extreme, where what they want is the most boring, like predictable, like every programmer wants to be able to do the same build on every single map and expect the exact same outcome with the standard meta with everything set in stone every single exact time, right? Which is actually really bad for viewers, although programmers always like that. I actually really like. I did desRow's philosophy where I don't downvote any maps now. I actually have even the map that I have like a 60% win rate on, but fuck that now. Because I think that the option to go onto a new map and then to have a different set of builds available to you actually feels way more like a strategy game rather than what StarCraft 2 has been shoehorned into, which is really just a mechanics slugfest, which 99% of the time it still is. But the idea that you can go into a map now and have a different set of builds available to you that revolve around that map make for it's a more entertaining game to stream, it's a more entertaining game to watch on a stream, it's a more entertaining game to watch in a tournament, and it's overall it's just better in every single aspect for the growth and development of players, for the future balancing of the game, because now instead of every player waiting around and be like, fuck, like force fields and void rays are fucking lame as shit. Now it's more like, on these maps, it's actually really easy to beat those things. On these maps, it's a lot tougher, and we can start to like change our strategies around different kinds of maps and play in different ways on different kinds of maps. I just feel like it's a much more healthier mindset when everybody, like if you got a bunch of players who all have like 5 or 6 different builds per matchup, based on the different maps, it's much harder for them to throw a new map at them and to have everybody go, fuck it, downvote, unbalanced, we need Blizzard to balance immediately, because these are players who, instead of being trained to wait for Blizzard to nerf or buff the game to make it work, they're used to bringing out different builds and, handling different situations in different ways rather than just waiting for Blizzard to fix everything and, shoehorn everything into a standard meta.
So I'll throw out the counter argument that, these players are playing for a living, right? They want to have a controlled environment, right? And is that the main motivation for them not wanting changes in the map? Because
it definitely is. Yeah. It definitely is. However, but like you've gotta balance it out. That's why I said they're the worst people to ask, because they are playing for a living. So every programmer would want it to be a boring, 100% predictable matchup every single time. But that's not what's best for viewers, and it's not what makes the more entertaining game.
But they're just not used to it. Like, take Brood War, for example. The fucking game lasted 10 years because they always had different maps, and they've always had to adapt. Like, the pace at which Blizzard changed the maps in StarCraft 2 has been way too fucking slow. So, of course, people are going to be crybabies whenever the maps change too drastically. Like, we had 4 new maps this season. It's like a first time this happens, and I hope it keeps happening.
And keep in mind, too, that the Brood War metagame, like, changed like 6 years after the last Blizzard patch. And maps, some would argue, would play a big part in that because different maps called for different builds or favored different, openly favored different races. And for StarCraft 2, like the Wings of Liberty meta stalled after like 6 months, and everybody's like screaming for fucking changes and shit. Although we were at a different point there because Blizzard had been trying so hard, where everybody had been making these huge fucking maps, and nobody wanted to deviate from like one set mean,
I mean, maybe you can clarify for me with Brood War and just like some of the meta changes. Did that involve actual changes to like the units themselves, like the nerfing of the actual units, or was that purely map
Blizzard
changes that
made a
changed the
few
meta?
balance changes for like the first 2 years of Brood War, but I don't think it was anything super massive. But I didn't play Brood War competitively ever, and I didn't play ladder or melee that much in the beginning. So somebody could correct me if I'm wrong. But it mainly had to do with like changing the battle cruiser food, changing spawning pool from like 150 to 200 minerals, like things like that. They
Yeah.
weren't like huge balance changes, nothing like introducing new units or taking units out or whatever. But regardless, like after they were done patching it for 2 years, like fucking 8 years later, like the metagame would still go through different changes without a single, any
Because
input
of the
at all
maps,
from
right?
Blizzard.
Because of the changes in the maps.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at it from the standpoint of I think that, we haven't explored that method of changing metagame and keeping the game fresh by changing the maps. We've always been dependent upon, David Kim and the balance team to really change the units to really change what's going on.
And that's
anywhere.
like
And
that's a super fucking toxic. That's crazy fucking toxic to everything that has to do with players. Because the last thing you want to do is end up in like the League of Legends mentality, where literally everything is relegated to you from Riot. These are the champs. These are the items you build on them. These are the lanes they go in, and these are how you play them. And, like these are the roles they get. Period. And then like everything that has to do with balance is relegated to you from Riot. The god of fucking balance, and nothing can deviate from it fucking ever. If anything is discovered to deviate from that, it's instantaneously nerfed into existence like the next patch. Whether it's AP Tryndamere, fucking some of the
right.
there's been so many like one-off champs where people will find something they're like, oh god, like this is actually really cool, like oh like Lulu is actually like a viable mid, or like crazy, and not like this dumb shit I did, but like legit like AP viable mid, where we're like Riot will nerf it into the fucking ground the second that something fits outside of like the assigned fucking metagame. Man, I was watching a couple league streams a couple days ago, and people still build like the same fucking items on every fucking champ. Holy shit, 80 carries are still building the exact same items every fucking game. Last Whisper, Bloodthirster, fucking tops are all still building fucking Randuins and the fucking Spirit Visage shit.
That was
fucking
supposed to
junglers always
change too. That was
I mean, like you
right.
you don't want to wind up where the metagame is that fucking stagnant, and in StarCraft 2, we're we like to call ourselves better, but StarCraft 2 is really in the same fucking place where no player ever wants to do a fucking different strategy ever. It always has to be, this needs to be nerfed, or we just need the 4,000-mile long map so that everybody's happy and nobody can rush and we're all happy,
Yeah. I mean, one thing too to point out about maps is that you made a lot of good points there. Maps are the one thing that we can actually change for higher level competitions too, versus having to really take into account the casual statistics. Like the win losses and the matchups and stuff. Where we're in the bronze and up to the platinum leagues. You can just have these maps at tournaments where just the pro highest level of play is played at, and you don't have to change the entire game to actually manipulate some things. And I think that's been the biggest issue with balancing so far, is like having to. It's an issue with all kinds of games. It's an issue with Hearthstone too. I mean, it's an issue with a lot of other, just any game, is that you have to. It has to be fun for the casuals too, and we have to keep it at least relevant for the elite players, and that's a very hard thing to do. And maps actually, you have the ability to do that with maps. It doesn't have to be ladder maps. You can be just specific tournament maps. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, four new maps, Des. I'm cool. I'm glad that you're really happy about that too. Because I a year ago we were. I mean, I was talking to like Plex and some of those other guys, and we were just like struggling to even get like one new map. Like nobody knew the process of getting new maps onto the ladder, right? And the TL Open was like, or the TL map making contest was like the first inlet to have like map makers actually have some process of getting it on the ladder, and now it feels like it's a lot more open, which is
There's
good.
like a new Pro League map where it was a turn player versus a Protoss, Thai versus SOS, where he did a proxy factory, one siege tank, and then lifted the factory to siege the natural, and that gave him like a small lead into the mid game, and then he ended up winning. So like things like that, you would never see that on the maps right now that we have. And so just with more maps every season, more strategies, more, and also like the people whining about the new maps on meta, those were probably the ones that struggled to qualify for Challenger, and just because they weren't fast enough to adapt to actually no, I think all of them qualified for Challenger, but still, like, people that complain, it's just they're not as fast to adapt. Like, I sucked at adapting on the new maps, and so I was a little grumpy at first, but you just gotta suck it up. and do it for the viewers and
Yeah,
the
problem
meta.
solve, guys. That's what it's all about, right? That's
Can I
solve.
a real quick thing too? I would be really interested. I would be really interested if there's like a math major out there or somebody that has gone to college and like has like a lot of math under their
There's a
belt.
ton of
I would
people,
love
yeah.
to see like a sick breakdown of how balance and a matchmaking system can play into each other. Because I've looked at discussions about it before, but it seems like something that would take like a really big math background to actually break down. One of the things that annoys me the most is that every time Blizzard talks about balance in like game design, the only thing they ever cite is like win rates. But I think that win rates are heavily skewed by the fact that these win rates are occurring inside of like a matchmaking system. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like if you've got a system that's designed to make every player win 50% of the time and lose 50% of the time,
that's true.
then I think that you could make like legitimate arguments that the balance should always be 50-50 anyway. But then there would be some deviation from that too. Maybe like an AP stats guy could do that too. There's got to be some deviation from that based on balance too. I don't know. I feel like you could do like a really big in-depth breakdown of that information. You know.
Well, I mean, you're right that the matchmaking is supposed to match up two people that are equal, in skill, but because there are three different classes or three different races, there is some validity in that the stats, right? The win rate stats for
maybe, but like I said, it would be really complex. I don't think you could just make a blanket statement. I think there's a lot of math behind justifying that.
Yeah, definitely a variance.
Because,
Sure, yeah.
Like if one race is doing better than the other two, that means that their MMR would be inflated more, so that they should be playing players that are better than them, even if they're the races that they're unbalanced against. And then those do you see it could be like
I know
really
you
big
mean. It's like it normalizes because you're a weak matchup, and if you play more of one, then you're higher than that some. I know what you mean. Yeah.
I feel like you could dig into that a lot, and dig into that data a lot. Also, I think that looking at win rates is shit anyway because it doesn't give you any indication on whether or not you got good or bad design. The standard example I've been using on stream, I remember reading someone saying it before. Like if you've got a race that wins 90% of the time before 10 minutes and loses 90% of the time after 10 minutes, that race was technically balanced, but it's not like good design,
that's like PVZ, Wings of Liberty, Broodlords, and then Immortal All In.
Yeah, definitely. Where that and you're kind of arguing, people are like, it's 50% win rate. It's like, yeah, like if they Immortal and you win, and if Zerg gets to Infested Broodlord, they win. Like that's fucking like it might be balanced, but it's fucking shit.
I mean, wouldn't it be cool if it ended up being the environment, I guess, in the competitive scene, it was more of people coming up with awesome maps that are like almost like puzzles, and then like once that puzzle's figured out, and in the metagame just kind of like stables a little bit, you just throw it out and then you come up with another map with the puzzle. What I mean? If you take that kind of approach versus just this again more mechanical approach that you're talking about, Steven. I mean,
and that's why having like
cool
the
part.
different maps is interesting, and I like that, and it's more fun for me. Like when I'm playing, maybe obviously it's different to pros, but like when I'm playing and I'm playing on a map where I have to actually think about like, can I do this? And even as something as simple as ZVZ, where it's like, oh, I can 15 hatch on this map, and then like on this map, oh, I have to 15 pull on this map, just because of the rushes and everything. I like that. It's way more fun to play. If I want to talk, it gives me more to talk about in game. Whereas like right now, if I were to give commentary on everything I do, it's like every single fucking map is the exact same up until these new maps came in. Or like I'm gonna repeat myself a million times, but more map variety would be so much cooler, and not map variety like more maps, but more different maps.
Yeah, different maps. Yeah, definitely don't need more. We just need very like just new scenarios each and every time. That brings some freshness to it. All right, moving on. Pizza Bucket. Okay, more Starbow. Yo, dudes, are to show dismiss Starbow with
Wait,
all
did desRow have something you wanted to add? You started to talk.
No, I
Mark,
wanted to talk
something?
about this question.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Oh,
all right. You're excited. All right.
Yeah.
I guess Meta dismissed Starbow with the cynical nerd aloofness you'd expect. I keep ramming this home, but what I really want to hear discussed is how it represents the first removal of Blizzard from the design process and what opportunities come from this. Are they going to react in a way that we don't expect or continue with their traditional stonewalling? Fabled Blizzard would never change that, so let's just stop talking about it. Design discussions are now back on the dinner menu, and Starbow is the first step in forcing Blizzard to confront them publicly. It's not about Brood War Throwback Mod. It's about the community revoking their rights to their own game.
Okay. Somebody actually brought that up in chat. I thought that was really interesting. Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
let's get Dez's point. First.
Before we start this discussion, I was riding the anti-circle jerk wave, and as long as people are having fun playing StarCraft, even though it might not be StarCraft 2 ladder, that's fun with me. Even though there might be a bit too many threads on Reddit, I'm happy that they're having fun. Okay.
Discussion's good, Des.
Yes.
Discussion's
yes,
good.
I know. I agree. All right, you go, Steven.
I think it's really cool. I think the idea that, I mean, if Starbow, like I said, the reason why I don't play Starbow has nothing to do with whether or not I like it or hate it. I can't play anything competitive and just put a little bit of time into it. Like, it's not
Yeah.
fun for me to do that. If Starbow were to grow into something much bigger than, than StarCraft 2, to be completely honest, that would actually be like the best fucking thing in the world. That would be the single best thing that could happen for StarCraft because the arcade would become free, which
Yep.
would give us free to play on our game.
Yep.
We wouldn't have to worry about anything with Blizzard ever. You know, we would have our own maps. I'm pretty
Guys.
sure that with that UMS game, people could design their own ladder system and everything because people done it with other UMS games.
This is still Blizzard's. They still own this thing, okay? So
They
it's
own.
not... Yes,
do
they do.
They
Yes.
own the IP of Starbow.
Yes, of course
I mean,
they do.
Are you sure about
Yes,
that? I would have to read the
yes.
If you make a custom map, Blizzard owns the rights to that map. They could sell. They
Yep.
could take your map and just sell it.
You
Are
can't go
positive?
and I mean that's the whole thing with GameHeart, right? You can't go and sell you can't go and sell your product. That's why Ryan couldn't get paid for the longest time. Like he couldn't get paid period by any of the events because of that stipulation in the license agreement or the EULA for the map making tool.
I don't know if
It's
you're
the
not
whole
allowed to
Dota
sell
thing.
it.
They're protected. They're totally not going to let that Dota thing happen again. Like
Maybe
let it slip
well,
from their
okay,
grasp.
so that might be true. That might be true. Then I don't know. I have to go and check, but that might be true. However, even if that was true, if Starbow started to grow and become popular after the game had become free, like the arcade is free and whatnot,
Yeah.
I think that it would. I don't think Blizzard would ever try to go back on that because I think that they would look really. It would be a disaster PR move for them.
Maybe, but
That
it could
looked
be like a
kind of fun.
separate kind of
No,
mini game
no,
that
no,
they
hold on.
they
Not
promote.
maybe. No, it would be a disaster. That would be front page of our games, our gaming. It would hit RL a couple times on different subreddits. The story would be followed by everybody in every fucking gaming community. That would be literally the worst PR move that Blizzard has
What
ever
if
done.
Starbow ended up being the Legacy of the Void?
That would never happen. Shut the fuck up.
I'm just...
But I'm
I
just
mean,
saying
I'm
that
just-
like for Blizzard to start to like rain down on Starbow and be like, well, we've decided to make it so this game isn't available on the free to play, and we've made it so that this game like can't do this or that. Like that would be the absolute worst fucking move that Blizzard could ever do, like in all of their PR history.
Yeah,
they would be
yeah,
shot
they'd
on
never do
like,
that.
the entire so many different communities. I don't think they would ever go that route.
No, I don't think they would go that route too. But I mean, to answer their question, I think it's wonderful. Again, like I think it's cool to have a place where
Oh fuck! Apparently, Blizzard does own the IP of maps that you create. That's fucked, dude.
yeah, I told you. I mean, it's
Oh,
it's
that's
not
super-
totally fucked. I mean that just
No,
depends.
that's super fucked.
It depends on how they. Well, it just depends, all right? It just depends on.
Oh,
on,
that's super fucked. Fuck you. That's super fucked. That would be like me streaming on Twitch, and then Twitch owning the rights to all of my
I
broadcasts.
know what it means. Okay, I know what it means.
They might be using your
It's not-
platform, but that's your fucking work. That's super fucked. But whatever. Sorry.
I mean, okay. I mean, you can interpret it whatever you want, but the reason it happened is because of what happened with Dota, right? That's why I think they reacted with that. But anyways, getting back to it, I think Starbow in general, it's a different situation than something like Dota was, right? Because this is so close to the actual StarCraft 2 IP itself, like resembles it, that it's not really in the same boat as that. But I think it's really good, and I think it's good that people like Total Biscuit and Husky doing some videos, everybody actually kind of jumps on board to really pushing this type of thing because it presents it. It does make it. Blizzard does watch the community, and if the community responds positively to something like this, some of the changes that are or some of the elements that are in Starbow, then I feel like they have to take it into account from the standpoint of design for Legacy of the Void and things like that. Whether Starbow itself can take off, I don't know. That's a complete different story. And the main reason I don't know, and I don't think it probably will take off to like a huge extent, is because it is so similar to StarCraft 2. Like it would be, it's just like another version of StarCraft 2, which there's no way to market that properly. And there's going to be cannibalization too, right? So anyways, I think that it's really, really good, but I don't know if it's going to take off so much. Even if it's just big in the community, guys, that's fine, man. That's great. There's nothing wrong with that. Like events starting with Starbow, that's cool, man. At least we're talking about the game more, and we're talking about the arcade, and we're talking about just like people
Yeah, but that's not
making
enough.
new
We want to
shit.
be big in esports. The esports pie is growing, and StarCraft's slice as a percentage of that pie is getting smaller and smaller. Even if
Sure.
we're staying the same
This is
from
not
a
the same
from a
thing. but
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that like
just,
people in the StarCraft community are fucking hungry. So like
yeah.
you got like to some extent you've got like all the ingredients like in place for it to be fucking huge. Maybe for a Starbow. Whoa, sorry. For a Starbow to have to be free to play, for the arcade to go free to play, and for us to have
Yeah.
100% creative control over it. That like those are like three really powerful. If there was one more thing, if they could find some way to monetize it, which obviously is impossible thanks to Blizzard's super fucked user license agreement, that would be like the killer. That would be like the best fucking thing in the fucking universe.
Yeah, but okay, so let's just say Starbow takes off as an esport. How's that any different? Like events, do events pay Blizzard right now to use StarCraft 2?
I don't think so.
No,
Do they? I'm not
right?
sure if
So
they
like
do.
if they wanted to use Starbow could still take off as an esport. I mean, I don't see how that's being held back. It's just being played on the battle.
Well, it's being held back
Battle.net's
because they
StarCraft
can't
2
make any
platform.
money off of it. If they could make money off of it, then Starbow could be like its own fucking standalone piece of fucking
You
awesomeness.
can you,
whereas
you can make
StarCraft
money
2
off
is,
of. I mean, you're talking about the developer.
yeah,
Okay.
like to
Okay.
sell like skins or portraits or whatever for Starbow,
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's where it comes into. It's a little bit hairy there because of the EULA when it comes.
Oh yeah,
to,
no, it's not hairy at all. They would be completely not allowed to do that. They
Yeah.
would never be allowed to monetize
I mean,
it.
Ryan's actually like he's pretty much spelled it out in previous either previous shows with me or even just in Reddit. Like that was a big issue. That's why he was actually having to reach out to the community because
Yeah, sure.
just not allowed to because Gameheart falls into the whole mod bucket. Okay. Any last comments, Mark? Desiree, got any last comments on that before we move on?
No, I mean, like, people are really optimistic. The hype will go down a little bit, and then we will see the true future of Starbow. Like, if in like 3 weeks there's like one thread every other day,
Yeah.
you can.
What do you mean, man? We're not going to know unless we go to r/Starbow, according to you, man. Get off of StarCraft.
No, I mean they can do whatever they want. If they need to do that to be big, sure. Like I wish I could play it, but it's a waste of time for me, personally. So I could try it.
Okay,
but-
what if you could get
but-
double the viewers playing
No way.
Starbow?
And no way, but I'm just like Steven. It's not worth just playing it a little bit. If you want to be competitive, you gotta go all the way.
Especially in Desra's position, now that he's in a challenger, it would be not good
Yeah,
for him to
true.
be investing a lot of time in that.
True.
Exactly.
All right,
But yeah, as
moving
long
on.
as they're having fun and not having ladder anxiety and playing StarCraft.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I think
whatever
we're
version
jumping
of
the
Starcraft.
boat a little. I mean, we're jumping the gun a little bit. I mean, like first off, let's just all enjoy Starbow a little bit first, guys, just as something fun and something like maybe analogous to an arcade game, and then think esports later. I mean, jumping straight to this esports talk is just crazy to me. But okay, let's see. Next up, we're DJ Helium. He wants to talk about Game On. I know we were gonna maybe mention it later. I don't know, Steven, you want to talk about it or not?
Yeah, no, go for it.
Okay, so DJ Helium, regular here, asked mostly to Destiny, what's your reasoning behind inviting personalities, not pro players, to vote for the MLG Game On Invitational, like Nathanias, Misspite, over pros? Xenosire, missing is really weird to me, seeing as he is one of the strongest NA players.
Okay, first of all, the really good players all should have got in via our invites. I think that we hit pretty much every major player with the invites. I don't think we missed anybody major there. The voting thing is more just a fan favorite kind of thing, so that we can get, because popular people bring in more viewers. If we can get those kinds of people even for just one round would be really nice to have. But I'm pretty sure that we got like everybody that deserved to be there in the voting system.
Well,
does
Xenosire deserve to be there or not?
I thought that there was a reason. I know that we discussed Xenocider.
I mean,
I don't remember exactly what I don't know if he refused
Like,
the
if you-
invite
no, no,
to
okay,
be on the
so-
list or what, but
if you're gonna put I think so there's like 3 questionable votes, right? Let's just put it out there. I'm not no ill feeling versus anyone. Nathanias, Avillo, Mrs. Spite. Avillo being like
what?
most-
Hold on. No, wait, whoa, what?
But
All right, let's
Dude,
look at this.
Avillo is
okay, okay.
Avillo, Misspite, and Nathanias. Oh my
I
God.
take it back.
No,
Yes,
wait,
people-
hold on. No, let me address it real fast. Those 3 are very fucking popular people. If they got in, we would get more
Ow.
viewers on the event.
Yes, I agree. That's why I said I
Okay.
take it back. Rude Caliber has been very inconsistent and inactive, and so he's on the voting list, and Xenocider isn't. That's like the only one. Like Guitar Cheese is up and comer, Drunken Boy is up and comer. Astria, Fog. Those could have been replaced by Xenocider. Xenocider won a $10,000 tournament in Korea that no one gave a fuck about, but he still won it. And then he finished first for WCG USA. And so I think that in itself deserved an invite.
Why didn't he? I don't know why he wasn't invited then. Give fuck. I don't.
Okay.
I honestly don't know. I know that we discussed him at one point. I'm not sure why he wasn't invited. I don't know.
Okay.
Hopefully that'll be a reason. I asked in the chat if they respond before the show's over. I'll give you the reason. Yeah. But otherwise, I don't think there's any. I don't think we missed anyone else, did we? Besides Xenocider.
I don't think so, no.
I think Xenocider is like the only like questionable why they left off the list, but I think everybody else should be there. I have no idea why it's not Xenocider. To be fair though, looking at this list, pretty much anybody who knows anything can probably pick like the 5 people that have the highest chance of making it through, right?
I mean,
Yeah, well, Cats has been tweeting about it.
The public will
What?
speak. You know, it's like, you know, this whole thing is to vote in like you said, Steven. It's like the people that are going to generate the most views, or the people who people want to see, is going to be reflected in who people vote for, right? I mean, it's...
Alright, somebody messaged me and told me the real reason is because Cats hates Xenocider. Well, there you go.
Wow, throwing your buddy under the bus.
Wow.
So, Cats tweeted
I'm just
20
kidding.
hours
I'm just
ago.
kidding. I'm being sarcastic. I don't actually know.
Okay, so Cats tweeted 20 hours ago. desRow leads, followed closely by State, Kane, and Illusion after 13,000 votes.
These are all
So
players.
even though he said I know the 5s, you were probably expecting like Spite
Oh, I
and
didn't even know
Villo.
he tweeted that.
Yeah, so
You're
those are
fucked
players.
now, eh?
You know? Those are players, right? So
Admit it.
Well, the voting can still change, guys. GameOn.gg, click the voting thing, or I think if you go to
does it show
Game
results? Does it actually show
go to
results?
GameOn.gg/vote, then you can go vote.
Okay,
You
that's good.
can vote every day. It resets at 12 a.m. Please vote for me. I love you.
All right. Let's see. DC Solid. All right, this is a little unfiltered. desRow. How did you feel when Thorin was roasting you during the final episode of 2013? Have you
I gotta
ever
vote
met?
it? Are you for real?
Have you met Thorin in person? If so, what did you make him?
I've never. Okay, so I've never met him, and then I
Okay.
tweeted like 3 times at him to be like, "Hey, why did you call me out? I'm not an NA pro," and then he never answered. So he's either a coward or he doesn't want to give me attention. I'd like to think both, and maybe he regrets it. A part of me has faith in him, and he regrets what he said about me. But then again,
Wait,
he's
who are you talking about right now?
He's
Thorin.
ginger and really bitter. So
Who are you talking about?
Thorin?
Thorin.
yeah,
Thorin?
He's ginger and okay, fuck you.
Stop that
Wait,
around.
you lost the game to Thorin? Wait, I don't know what you're talking about right now.
Just finish
You-
that. Sorry.
No, wait,
We
start it
interrupted
over.
you.
Start it over in the beginning. I'm sorry, start that
just
over.
finish
It was
up.
like 2 sentences. Start over. Go.
He said, "How do you feel when Thorin roasted you during the final 2013 episode? Have you
Yeah.
ever met Thorin
Oh.
in person?"
Mm-hmm.
So no, I don't know why he hates me. He's just very bitter and ginger, and so I tried to call him out on Twitter, didn't reply. So I'm just moving on with my life, and I actually like his work. That's the most bitter thing about.
I think
this
he
whole
just
thing.
he still sees this desRow of 2010 or
Maybe-
2011 type of.
Maybe he was
type of thing.
drinking too much alcohol. It is
Maybe.
rehab.
Okay, moving on. No,
Yep.
let's see. None the wiser asks Destiny. You've shown yourself to be a game hopper to a level that would put DJ Wheat to shame. When are we gonna see you save the Dota 2 NA scene? There is no one streaming Dota 2 during the day except Dread in Russian. He pulls down 21k viewers while J-Dong is getting 800. You could triple your stream numbers by playing Dota 2. What do you say to that? man?
Okay, first of all, I hopped games one time, and I was very fucking clear about why I hopped games, okay? So, Destiny came out with a big post decrying all of the fucking bullshit that Blizzard does, which, by the way, now everybody fucking agrees with. It's not even controversial. None of the shit that I said was even fucking controversial, first of all, okay? Secondly, a lot of big people in the StarCraft community that didn't support me were, like, very big non-supporters there. They were like, oh, well, Destiny's wrong, like, we can do blah, blah, blah. All those people now are casting other games, and they did it fucking quietly too. They didn't make any big. There was no big announcement where it was like, you know what, guys, I'm just feeling like Hearthstone more. You know, I'm just gonna go fucking half my website's gonna be Hearthstone. I'm gonna compete in that and do shows about that. Artosis didn't make a fucking statement about that. He just kind of like weaseled off without anybody fucking saying anything, and then they just all kind of go do different events. So fuck all of that shit. Yeah, I switched one time because I got fucking bills to pay, and I'm not in the esports club where I get to get paid $30,000 to go and shittily cast an event for a game that I never fucking play. Okay, I was never that big. So yeah, I switched in League because money is fucking important to me, and because the potential money to be earned there is a lot bigger. I did come back to StarCraft because I fucking hate MOBAs, right?
So
but
defensive, man.
It's really annoying when people accuse me of like game hopping, when there are so many people in the community that do it now and don't say shit about it because they kind of like don't ever talk about it. They just like go and hop to other games. Like, has Tasteless ever played a game of StarCraft 2 in his life? Like, does anybody actually know the answer to that question?
I don't think so.
What? Of course he's played StarCraft 2.
If you were to tie Tasteless up and you were to hold a gun to his head and say, how many workers do you start with? Do you think he would say 4?
I'm gonna bring his ass on the show one of these days.
Do you think Tasteless would say, I think you start with 4 workers in a game of StarCraft 2? Like, come on, like, let's be real now. Everybody else is going off and jumping off to other events because they don't think they can make as much for StarCraft anymore. And I don't hate them for it, but, like, at least I was fucking honest about it. Like, up front, I was honest as shit about it, and I told you, and I'll still be honest about it. And I'm back to StarCraft because I love StarCraft, so fuck everything, okay?
So what he's saying is he's not coming to do it too. That's pretty much the answer your question.
Oh, fuck MOBAs. I'm never gonna, except for Heroes of the Storm, but that's because I've already got my monetization thing figured out for that shit. Otherwise, I'll never willingly jump to, especially an already established MOBA where I'd have to play catch-up for fucking 2 years.
Okay.
Okay, what's up?
Let's see. Beach SC asked, we'll ask like a few more. Beach SC asked, I've always felt SC has a core audience of RTS lovers, and there really isn't another RTS alternative out there for competitive play. Does StarCraft survive if someone, say Valve, releases an RTS with the support structure we love with Dota 2? Streaming, microtransactions, tournament support before Legacy of the Void comes out. I don't think that's possible.
What? If StarCraft had the same support Valve gave Dota 2, that would be fucking amazing.
No, basically, does StarCraft survive? Does StarCraft survive if Valve released an RTS that had the same level of support?
It depends on how fun the game is to play. Like, if there's microtransaction, but the game's shit, no one gives a fuck. So, like, his question doesn't make sense because...
Well, his question is mainly is if there was a competitor
but you need a good game,
StarCraft.
And to have a good game better than StarCraft, I mean, Starbow might do it, but outside of that, no, it takes too much work. For, like, before Legacy of the Void comes out, the game would have to already be announced, and...
Yeah. It takes a long time to develop, like, an RTS game. So it would have to have been in the pipeline for a year or two already for it to beat out Legacy of the Void, I think.
Don't worry, Day9's RTS is going to take over.
Oh, man, I was trying not to say that.
Really?
That's funny.
That looks funny. So weird, though. It's like on a browser. That's so weird.
It's more accessible because it's on a browser. I mean, it's you haven't seen much of it,
you
right?
play at lunch.
Yeah.
Play at lunch for like 5 minutes, and you get crushed.
Wow.
Casual, baby.
Can we not be so negative here? Holy fuck.
All right,
This is the guy who was taking jabs at Artosis the whole time.
They're the easiest guys to take jabs at now. Come on, dude.
Yeah,
I'm riding the jerk wave. I told you.
Guys.
It was all about riding that jerk wave. The waves of fucking semen that flow as everybody jerks in a certain direction, man. You just gotta hop on top, put yourself up there, get that dirty esports money.
And get dirty. SC Shadowblade asked, desRow, what was your thought process behind not vetoing the most Zerg favored map currently? Great play on it, by the way.
Yeah, well, it was like a little bit of no play on Alterzim, and then I just wanted like to, I don't know, get some fame for it, because like no one likes Daedalus, so I wanted to be brave. So that's why I played it.
Good job, desRow. It paid off for you.
Yeah, it did.
When I saw you win that game, it reminded me of the pure ownage moment where Jeremy closes his eyes and jumps from the bridge and knifes the other guy in the 1v1 Counter-Strike match. I know there's at least 50 people out there that got that reference, okay? And those people are smiling on the inside. Everyone else, fuck you for being 12 years old.
Okay.
Okay.
You know what I realized the other day, ChanManV? And desRow, those two 12-year-olds that I killed on DayZ, those guys were playing DayZ, a computer game that I'm playing. I killed them, and those guys weren't even born when 9/11 happened. Holy shit, fuck. Somebody said that in my chat.
That's true.
Fuck me, dude.
That's true.
I couldn't even believe it. It's so old.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, let's see. There's another Starbow one. Let's see. I'll just try to sum it up. A lot of... Okay, so when creating SE2, Blizzard tried... So this is from Fa T3. Lots of stuff talking about Starbow and why it's getting hyped or overhyped. When creating SE2, Blizzard tried to reinvent the wheel and disregard everything they could have taken from Brood War's foundation. Okay, after all this time, Brood War like mechanics. Okay, okay, so I kind of get the gist of it. I think what he's saying is that the reason people are just jumping on board to Starbow is just because there are a bunch of Brood War elements on top of it, right? And it's just like sprinkling in. You can look at it from the standpoint of sprinkling in StarCraft 2 into Brood War versus Brood War into a StarCraft 2. It's 2 game, right? And shouldn't Blizzard have taken that approach, I guess, with StarCraft 2 originally? Just basically improving Brood War versus, somewhat redesigning, outside of the 3 races are still being there, but redesigning the races for the most part, or at least Protoss for the most part.
Alright, so I love Distant Brother and his bald head, but they fucking hired people from Command and Conquer to make to live up to the legacy of Brood War. And so that in itself was really retarded.
Oh, wow.
No, it's true. Like, fucking
wow.
Command and Conquer was shit.
Whoa!
There's, never been any good RTS besides Brood War, and so Command and Conquer was second, so people had to settle for that if they didn't like the storyline of Brood War, or Brood War in general.
Aside from, Warcraft, wasn't, Red Alert, one of the most... There was, a small competitive scene, wasn't there, for Red Alert?
Yeah, and fucking Avila was at the top of it. That tells you how much it was shit.
I thought that outside of StarCraft and Warcraft, I'm pretty sure that Red Alert had the largest RTS following. Am I wrong on that, guys? Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's what I'm saying. It was second after Brood War, or third.
Well,
after
but come
Warcraft
on,
and Brood War.
where else do you go?
But it's like Brood War, the best RTS ever made, and then you're gonna hire guys that were third on the totem pole. What kind of logic is that?
Okay.
They literally took the Colossus was already in Command and Conquer. They just ported it and made it into StarCraft. There's a video about it. You can find it.
Have you ever seen the movies or read the erotic fan fiction or whatever your movies and choices? Have you ever seen the thing where the guy goes up to the genie and he gets one wish and he wishes for something, but the genie warps it into something that fucks him? You know what I mean? Not fucks him.
Yes, of course.
You call the erotic route, then the little. Yes. So it might be where a guy goes up to him and I wish to be the richest man in the world, and then all of a sudden he is the richest man in the world, but maybe he also has a ton of health problems and no friends or family. Actually, have you ever seen the movie Click with Adam Sandler? He gets the remote to yeah, sure, like that, right? I think that that's what happened with StarCraft 2. If you listen to all of their stuff beforehand and you listen to them, pretty much the only thing they wanted to do with StarCraft 2 was create the ultimate competitive experience. You can go and find older clips of them talking about StarCraft 2, and they say it a million times. And you can see by the entire design of the game, especially the archaic Wings of Liberty Battle.net, the older one that they launched with, right after the beta, that was really indicative of their desire to fuck everything about the game except for, the 1v1 ladder experience, which, as we see now, is a horrible fucking mistake. I think I tied those together.
Do we press the
Yeah, so they took one good thing and then they tried to make it about that good thing entirely, and they missed the forest for the tree or the tree for the forest, something like that.
What?
I feel like I lost you, ChanManV. Did that make sense? Tell me if that made sense.
I think I did.
It did.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Do we press the Brit button?
Press the what button?
The Brit button.
What's the Brit
button?
Chat.
Look at chat.
I see chat. I'm always reading chat. Does he want? I didn't see him say he wanted
Skype chat.
Oh. God damn it.
Come on, man.
Oh. If he wants to, why the fuck are you asking me? I'm not his owner.
I just want to be, I just want to be. I just want to be courteous to, our.
No, never. This is unfiltered. If we didn't want him on,
I'm
then
just
that
trying to be courteous to our guests.
Even
no, I would like.
Some people are like, fucking what? What? I mean, if people only heard what goes on,
don't you know how to be a shock jock? Come on, man.
Still learning, man. Still learning. All right, here we go. So Brit button has been pressed.
funnily enough, you just finished the one question I even wanted to talk about, so like, don't even know why I'm here now.
No, you can talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about Starbow. And is that the one that's the question you wanted to talk about, right?
Yeah, the Starbow thing is really strange because for the last 3+ years, there hasn't been a single custom map that has ever excited anybody. Yeah. Even including the official Blizzard ones. Remember when things like Starjeweled came out? The hype for Starjeweled lasted about 3 seconds.
Yeah,
and everyone was really interested in Blizzard Dota, and then that never actually came out. And 5 years down the line, it comes along as Heroes of the Storm.
We've got Star Strikers.
Right? Yes, the Star Strikers pro scene really took off in a big way, didn't it?
Hey, man, fuck you guys.
Hey, it's coming, man.
It's still
that's going to be the thing that DJ Wheat jumps to. You're talking about game hopping? That's the one he really wants. He's all over that. Grandmaster Star Strikers.
All right, so talk about Starbow. I mean, like you've been actually one of the. I mean, I think you pushing it, you having some of your players play it. It's been one of the reasons why it's gotten so much publicity recently. And talk about what your thoughts are on it, and do you think it's a good thing and that sort of thing?
I think we were actually looking at a bunch of different things before we started playing Starbow because. I'd been listening to an awful lot of shows, including like the State of the Game episode, and as much as people like to rag on that, one of the main points they made during State of the Game, which I liked, was the map design is really stale in StarCraft 2. And the way that balance was often done in Brood War, from what I understand, is it was done a lot through maps. There weren't actually that many balance patches at all. There were years with no balance patches. So they just changed the maps around if there was a problem. Oh, Protoss are winning a lot? Okay, let's change the map so that they don't. And do that kind of thing. And it seems like maps for the longest time within StarCraft 2 have all kind of been the same. They've all followed the same basic principles. You've got to have 2 geysers. You've got to have a natural. Your ramp's got to look a certain way. And the games play out in roughly the same kind of way. And we were looking at some custom modded stuff. There was a guy that did something called adjusted mining, where he took all of the minerals and he put half of them further back. The idea of it was to...
It backfired.
It actually did it. Yeah, Destiny knows exactly what fucking happened. It did the exact opposite of what it was supposed to do. The idea was it was supposed to discourage people saturating their bases and make more bases. Exactly. What it actually meant was that it took fucking 3 to 4 SCVs to saturate the back patches. So you ended up having even less bases than previously. So I got my guys to play a couple of laps.
Expand.
Yeah, it was not good. We rapidly realized it was a waste of time, but I wanted to have a look at Starbow and see, well, how do they do it? Have they actually made the economy different, and what does that cause to happen? And so I got the Axiom guys to play it a little bit. But I think the reason it's blown up in the way that it has is that there's been this whole dead game thing has been around for months, and there's been a huge amount of negativity focused particularly on Protoss, in the sense that people are saying, oh, Protoss is so boring to watch. And all that kind of stuff. And they'll point, and it's always the Protoss units that come up when people point to what's wrong with StarCraft 2. Like Force Fields and Colossus, these are bad, and we don't like those. And since Starbow didn't have either of them, I thought I'll have a look at it. But I think what Starbow represents to a lot of people, as much as the circle jerk has been saying, oh, this is the savior, this is better than StarCraft 2, it's like, it probably isn't better than StarCraft 2. We have no idea how imbalanced it is. It's still bug-ridden. It's balanced by random community members, as cool as they are. So God knows what will happen with it. But it did demonstrate that there's maybe there are some design philosophies with StarCraft 2 that don't actually work as well as Blizzard thinks they do. And as a result, something comes along that's radically different and said, hey, look, we can make lurkers work again because we made the game play out differently to the way that a regular game would work. Because you can't just throw lurkers into Heart of the Swarm and expect it to work. It fucking won't. We'll get destroyed.
It leads back to that
or
question
that call for the Defiler, like just give us Defiler. Like you can't just put that in, and
It's such a annoyingly simplistic fucking attitude. It's like, just bring the Brood War units back. It doesn't matter what units you bring back. Like, the current metagame, it would not allow that to happen. Oh, bring Lurkers back. Right, that sounds like a great idea. The Immortal exists, so there's no fucking point. Or,
one of the
Order,
For what you just said, like, I really do feel like, and I'm not trying to shit on Protoss, and it's not even a balance question, like is it better overpowered or underpowered, but I really do feel like with very few exceptions, I feel like Terran and Zerg can both work across a wide variety of settings with very few limitations. That like like 2-Rax might be really strong on some maps, but like if you ignore like the fact that 2-Rax exists, I feel like Zerg and Terran could battle it out across a wide variety of maps, but a lot of those maps get thrown out instantaneously because of some of the Protoss design concepts. Like you just can't have maps that are too tight because force field will shit all over your face. And there's nothing that you can ever fucking do about it, So the Protoss design, and like you'll notice when those new maps come out, and you look at all of the complaints about it, all of those complaints are centered around Protoss units. Like, oh, like we can't take a natural because we have to have this set up. And Protoss aren't even necessarily wrong. Like when they talk about like having.
What if you just created a map that's so big that the early game doesn't even matter, so you don't even care about the map?
Altazim Stronghold is what.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like
that.
that.
The big
It's
blue
pretty
map
much like that, right?
Yeah, that was the trend though.
awesome.
Is where if you look at the map design for how StarCraft 2 like Protoss became okay, we've just been trending towards bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and huge fucking maps. And then like that was like the solution to the problems. Is like, well, now nobody can rush and now everybody can play safe macro games. So now we can all be happy. And it's like, now every map plays out. Everybody only needs one build per matchup because the maps are all the same,
Yeah, if you look at the way Starbow does it, because they got rid of you look at it, it's like, all right, there's no force fields, and yet you've got these really narrow chokes. So what does that allow? Well, it allows for better defender's advantage, and it also allows for you to dismantle things like, say, a big bio ball, right? Comes towards the Zerg naturally, thinking, oh shit, how do I defend against this? Well, usually there'd only be one way of doing that, but you throw down 2 spines, a couple of lurkers, and 1 defiler, you can destroy an entire fucking bio ball right there, if you actually plan things out quite nicely. And it's resulted in some really interesting play where people, in combination with the way that the mining works, because you can't properly auto mine in that game. There's something called mineral bouncing where your efficiency drastically drops after the first worker. That people are willing to take more bases because they don't feel like they're going to get screwed over if they take a third. Because they think they can defend it. And that means there's a lot more drops and skirmishes all over the map and smaller engagements instead of deathball versus deathball. And I don't think it's going to replace anything, and I think it would kind of be a disaster if it did, because let's be honest, I don't see Blizzard saying, WCS for Starbow, guys, here you go, here's millions of dollars that we're going to throw at this custom game. It's not going to happen. And right now, the core of StarCraft 2, whether you like it or not, is WCS and its funding. So StarCraft 2 basically has to be successful for them. But it does, I think, show some interesting ideas, and it shows how they can work, and maybe that affects Legacy of the Void design philosophy. Maybe it doesn't, but it's cool to have a little option every once in a while. And if you look at, say, you go back in time and you talk about Call of Duty 4 specifically, in the UK, COD 4 actually had a pretty good pro scene for a while because of something called COD 4 Pro Mod. And like COD 4 on its own was fucking useless for competitive play. Pro Mod comes along, puts it on the map for that, and maybe it's years down the line when Blizzard has just forgotten about StarCraft 2. They don't really support it anymore. And maybe that competitive scene lives on through a mod of some description. It's really nice that we have that ability.
I mean, is it possible for it to actually become something? Like, we were talking a little bit about that and just how I think the license agreement actually restricts anything in the arcade from, at least a developer, from making any kind of money from it. So what do you think about that?
It's kind of ridiculous that they restrict it in that way, because do you guys remember when they first announced StarCraft 2 and the way that the arcade would work, and they were going to have an in-game store?
Yeah, they would let you. And then
they
would make developers make money off of it and shit.
They
would probably all finagle that through their own licensing agreement, though. They'd probably say like, you own the IP, but you have the rights to sell it exclusively on our store and whatnot. But
this is the Dota clause,
that is
man,
a really
I'm telling you.
that is a super fucked up. Like, can you imagine if the owner of Microsoft said that like every essay that you typed on like Word was their property because you used their tools? I don't know. Like, I think that's really that license agreement is super fucked up.
It's a little different.
It's the exact same comparison.
What happened?
Or if like the guy that wrote like C++, like all of a sudden owned every single program ever authored in that language, or like W3C owned like HTML and CSS, like every website made is like their intellectual property. Like, I don't know, that's just super fucked up. I understand that Blizzard gives you the tools to make the maps, but the concept and the idea and the implementation and like creating the maps is something that should be uniquely your own work. That's pretty fucked up that they would get ownership of that, in my opinion. I think that's really fucked up.
I wonder to what degree that license would really be enforceable, because I mean, you could definitely make the argument, obviously you're using their actual models, you're using their engine, that's definitely their IP and they certainly have rights to that. But ideas and things like that, certainly. I have a feeling you could definitely take, say, could you take Starbow, put it in another engine, and put it out without Blizzard getting furious about it? Maybe you change all the names over, you change the models around. You probably could. I think
Oh,
at that point.
Hey, restart your video, Steven.
Steven,
Steven, Mark, restart your video.
To do that would be like a huge undertaking because you'd have to build another game from the ground up because obviously you couldn't copy Blizzard's engine to use any of their assets for that. But yeah, I'm sure you could do that, but man, that would be a huge undertaking.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice that they would give the ability to actually sell within that game, though, because the point was that they wanted the next Dota to come along, because they missed the boat on Dota. They lost control of that. You know, that was one of their biggest mistakes, perhaps. And then they want the next Dota, and they wanted to offer an incentive for people to actually really come and dev for under the StarCraft 2 engine using the map editor, and that never really happened. And there's actually not been any sign of that coming along whatsoever, which I think is a bit of a shame. And maybe something like the success of Starbow does encourage more people to come and mod, but right now, at least, it's a nice distraction, and I think it's definitely generating some fun games for people to watch. I do think it's become a fucking colossal circle jerk, and that's really annoying.
See what you caused, man. It's a good thing, though. God,
I only wanted to make people happy. Why
I know. It's like, why can't people just
this?
just have some fun, man, and like stop trying to take this thing so seriously and making it e-sport and shit.
The circle jerk was only up for like 17 hours, and the anti-jerk already started. I think that's like record turnaround time.
Did you see that terrible thread? I think it was at the top of r/Starcraft that says, you know, it couldn't have been more stereotypically Reddit, like unless they put a net in there and used the gem. Am I the only one? Like, no, you never. Shut up. And it's like, and people voted it, even though the actual logic in his original post was utterly awful. Like, there was nothing in there that made any sense whatsoever. It's like, my main complaints are that the game overall feels slower. The increased defender's advantage makes scouting less important. That is absolute bullshit, because there are no Zelnaga watchtower. Scouting's extremely important. Right. The races feel less unique compared to StarCraft 2, which in itself is hilarious. The automatic Unix spacing takes away control, leads to weird AI behavior. It's like, I think there's a really bad choice to implement 50% hit chance when firing at units. Random chance are for MOBAs, not for StarCraft. Ignoring the fact that was in fucking Dota, Warcraft 3, StarCraft War.
Brood War 2. Yeah. Brood War 2.
Brood War was, I think it was a 70% chance to hit up a cliff in Brood War. And you can actually go ask a pro gamer, like, you could get into some hilariously unlucky things in Brood War, where your siege tank would miss, like, 7 fucking shots in a row. Like, it was rare, but it happened, and it was catastrophic when it happened.
Well, it was so programmed into all the pros, too, that it took a while before people actually knew for a fact that the high ground wasn't an advantage. You know, there wasn't like a distinct crazy advantage. You know, it's like, it's kind of...
Yeah, because it seems like a mindfuck. Yeah, to attack up to the high ground with no thing at all, but yeah. I wish that somebody in here who's more well versed than me, even Kyle, could do it. If you just watch any old Brood War Pro game, like even the big 1A versus 1A, I say 1A even though there's 12 groups, even the big fights had a lot going on in them. And there was just a lot of shit going on. Like, if you think it's some really exciting moments, I don't know if like Storks, like massive storms and those siege tanks, like in the fight, the vultures with the spider mines fucking everywhere, and the arbiter stationing and everything. There's so much going on. But in StarCraft 2, like the battles are over like in pretty much a flash. Like like 5 seconds for like most big 1A versus 1A battles.
Well, yeah, the DPS is massive.
Like, yeah, so, and the AOE of everything, and just everything just melting fucking instantaneously, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you can even just get more units in range because they're packed so fucking close together.
Yeah,
you know?
That's true.
So that ends up happening there. But what bothers me about that post is kind of the attitude that it was just upvoted because it was the anti-jerk at the time. There's a bunch of people that are annoyed that the Starbow posts are on the front page, so they upvote the thing that they see as kind of has legs, even though they completely disagree with everything in the body of the post.
Yeah,
it's like,
it's the same. It's the same for every single jerk though, because like there are times on StarCraft Reddit where, depending on what I'm doing or what you're doing with Shoutcraft, where somebody might write something as dumb as like, "I wish I could suck Destiny" or "Total Biscuit's dick" all day long, and it'll get like 1 million upvotes because the jerk is like in that direction. Or you might find like people talking shit, and then like somebody will make like some decent point, like, "Oh, like Total Biscuit, supports the scene with Axiom and Shoutcraft, and like it's really nice and blah blah blah," or like, "Oh, like Destiny isn't that bad, he's not racist, like most of the time, blah blah blah," and like it'll be downvoted into oblivion because the jerk is going a certain way. So yeah, it is really funny that if you
racist most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time. If you hop onto the jerk in certain ways, it doesn't matter what you say, as long as you're like in the right direction of the jerk, and you will just be carried along the waves of happiness, no matter what you're saying.
Dude,
because
Reddit
like
meta,
what you
dude.
said,
Reddit meta,
like that. Like, that post was really fucking stupid. Like, I remember clicking it, and then I remember reading it, and I was like, oh, that's pretty funny. Because, like, nothing that he said was even close to legitimate. Like, my main complaint is that the overall game feels slower. Like, if you watch the StarCraft Reddit over the past, like, 2 years, everybody's complained about Death Welfare. Like, why would you even say that, you know? I don't know.
It's hilarious, really, because, like, oh, great, StarCraft 2's faster. Okay, well, faster at doing what? You take your army, you hit stim, and then you shove it forward. Okay, so they fire really quickly, and it's kind of satisfying that things blow up so fast. But, sometimes it's a little bit nicer to slow things down a bit because it lets you micro more. It lets you do more things. Yeah. Okay, battles are more protracted. It's a real-time strategy game. It's not a throw your death ball at something and have the game end in 5 fucking seconds. Wanted to do that, I'd play Quake. It's just... Yeah. It's kind of silly that people would complain that a strategy game is too slow. Are you playing? I think you're playing the wrong genre here. But anyway, I mean,
it feels wrong that like a 25-minute macro game can lead up to a fight that ends in 5 seconds. Like that feels super fucking
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like every time I see that happen in a game, yeah,
it's annoying from a casting perspective as well.
Definitely.
It's goddamn infuriating. And Jesse, I'm sure you know about it, how annoying it is from a casting perspective. Like, at every game, all right, for the first 10 minutes, nothing's going to happen. Okay, he's not cheesing. All right, let's sit back, relax, and speculate for the next 10 minutes. Talk about the history of the tournament. Then we get into the fight, and then the fight's over, and so, well, that was the thing, I guess. So... I would love for there to be action from the start that was all over the map constantly, and Starbow's showing some of that, and I think that more so than anything demonstrates that there's real value in looking at what Starbow's doing and letting it influence future design philosophy for StarCraft 2 expansions. And that's what's come from it.
That's like a good idea, but I'm not that optimistic. Maybe because I'm from the United States. Yeah. In the United States of America, we have 2 major political parties, and everybody always says like, well, the good thing about the third party is even though they'll never get elected, whether you're talking about libertarians or Green Party or whatever, even if they don't get elected, at least they'll force the other politicians to talk about these issues. But that never fucking happens. Their voice just gets drowned out, and then everybody forgets about them. I'm hoping that Blizzard doesn't find some way to pull the plug on this, because to be honest, I don't see Blizzard going back to the drawing board for Legacy of the Void. I don't see them making any big design changes, you know.
If Starbow gets bigger, they might. If Starbow gets bigger, they might. If Starbow gets bigger, they might.
I would love, you know what I would love to see? If they were to just remove Force Field and Warp Gate from Protoss and balance from there, I would love to see that. I think that would be super fucking exciting.
desRow, I mean, I'd love to hear like if you were to completely redesign Protoss right now and still make them viable. Because right now, would you agree like the Force Field's like a clutch? Like Protoss needs Force Field, otherwise they're totally fucked, right?
Yeah, we do. But we also need Colossus. I don't know. Like the way Protoss is designed in StarCraft 2 is way too weird to remove Force Field or Colossus. So Starbow is like a nice compromise, but
would making the gateway units just stronger help?
Yeah,
like
but
Zealot's stronger, Stalker's stronger.
But then you have to take away Warp Gates. So
exactly, that's why I said Warp Gate.
Can you just shove Warp Gate further down the tech tree, though? Like, I mean, Starbow did that, and they may have actually nerfed it to near uselessness. It's hard to say, but
yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think Warp Gate being like tier 3 or tier 2 or even tier 3 might be the way to go. Then, if you remove Force Field.
Yeah,
because the game.
That's not drastic.
David Kim is like on record saying that he doesn't see Force Field as a problem, which I think is really indicative of
climbing
a lot
ladder
of stuff. It's kind of scary. Yeah.
I think that's the difference in design opinion, that he's okay with an ability that completely stops micro on the other side.
Well, he doesn't think it does. That's the problem. Like
yeah, but I find his like design philosophy when it comes to that, because his argument is, oh, well, you can preemptively micro against it. It's like, well,
that kind of sounds like what people said against Zerg in Wings of Liberty, when they're like, well, Infestor Broodlord is OP, just don't let him get there. It's like, fuck.
Yes,
come on.
That doesn't make it balanced.
It's kind of, yeah, I mean, like, that's kind of true, but it's like telling a black guy, like, just don't go to the South in the United States. Like, they're racist there. Why would you go there? Like, well, I mean, I guess, but, like, it doesn't make the fucking other shit right. Like, I don't know. Like, to hear him say that is just really fucking annoying. Just pre-micro. Like, I mean, you're kind of right, but fuck.
So,
we need a filter for the subreddits. The Starbow filter.
I think
it's becoming
Starbow
less
just
and less.
get its own tag. To be fair, it's already got one that no one else uses, which is modding.
It does.
Like, when was the last time a fucking modding thread ever came up for anything outside of Starbow? So you could just very easily filter.
The MMO that got
There's
kickstarted.
a modding flare. Yeah.
Yeah, true.
That actually exists.
But TB, while we have you on, you did tweet something, or you did say something that the biggest thing that you've done to date in SG2 is coming up tomorrow. Any,
hey man,
any
I'm
hints?
defeated control when it comes to announcements on this shit. But that's being announced tomorrow. You should certainly know about that. If you want me on at some later date to talk about that, then by all means.
All right,
Should be fun though.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, buddy. I'll let you go.
I will deny one thing, by the way, because people keep fucking saying it. It's not Shoutbow. That's also a stupid name and it should never happen.
Wait, what? Shoutbow?
Like Shoutcraft?
Oh my
Jesus.
god. That would be awesome. Shoutbow.
No, it's not Shoutbow.
All right, buddy. I'll let you go. Finish out the show.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
All right.
See you.
Thank you.
Love you.
Thanks a lot for being on.
All right, so let me remove him here, but all right. The Brit button was pressed, and now we're back. We'll finish things out with let's see, this question that he's going to get a chance to miss. Last question, Umberbane. What are your expectations of Sons of StarCraft Q&A episode? It's actually at the top now of Reddit because it's a sponsored link.
It's gonna
Finally,
be
some real talk or soft PR answers. At some point, you have to ask yourself if soft PR answers are even worth it. If anyone in the community will be pissed at them afterwards, even more then.
Damn, I think they're officially said they weren't looking for a release until 2015.
What?
Is that what he said? I thought I read that he said they weren't looking for a release until 2015.
All right,
Then they might redo
there's a
the
link
entire
at the top.
thing because the last part was fucking garbage.
All right, let me see.
Like
Gosh.
it's a shame. You didn't watch the last part, Steven, did you?
I didn't quite catch the last part of
It
with
was
the
it was so
tastelosis.
uninspiring.
Hey, where is that? I don't see the sponsor link anymore. Where is that? It was at the top just a second ago. Fuck. Do you guys see it? You
I hate
guys
to be that guy, but can we get a too long didn't read any detail on the major points? The release is aimed at 2015. They think Sons of StarCraft got too much criticism. They will likely travel to Europe once again to get final footage for White Raw.
Oh, you're
They
talking
will
about
not
Star
release-
Nation. You're talking about Star Nation. We're talking Sons of StarCraft.
Oh, fuck me.
What the
I'm
fuck
sorry.
are you talking about?
Forget everything
Jesus.
that I just said about this guy.
Richard just did an interview with Justin, so you can watch that.
Oh, shit. I have no idea what I just said. Forget everything that I just said.
Oh
I'm
my
really sorry.
gosh.
Please forget
Oh
what
my-
were we even talking? What did I just say? I'm sorry.
The
What did I
You
episode-
were
just
talking
say?
about Star
the
Nation.
last episode of fucking Sons of StarCraft, man.
Sons of StarCraft. Did you say Star Nation? Why did I assume Star
No, I
Nation?
said Sons of StarCraft.
I'm sorry. Okay, keep talking. I'm removing myself from this conversation.
Okay, so I guess he's asking like what I guess we think the Q&A session will be like because there's been a lot of criticism. Do you think they'll answer a lot? I don't even know what are they gonna say? I mean, I think we can.
They're fucked. I
mean,
think
it's not
it was
even-
like a stupid idea to do.
I mean, I think we know what the answers will probably be. I mean, it's.
It would
Like
be
the
interesting to get
what-
them on like Unfiltered to have like some really hard hitting questions to.
I was trying to get him on. I just never.
Well,
Let me reach. Let me
It
reach
would
out.
never, unless
No,
you
no,
you
Jeff-
had
Jeff
them
was-
at
Jeff was game for
Unless-
it. Here, I'll ask him.
unless you had them at gunpoint. Yeah, he was game, and then he told like the Kim Rom guy, and then they were like, "Fuck no."
Oh, okay. Well, I'll ask Jeff anyways because it would be good to hear his side of the things. I mean, I don't think we've heard Jeff's side of the story on a lot of this, and
Oh, the questions are so funny. Did you learn how to do documentaries by the end?
what?
Can I
Wow.
wait?
What?
Link.
So
Right now.
What is this?
Oh, those questions. They would be okay. Here,
What are you talking about?
the sponsor thread. The questions. for
Oh
the
yeah,
Sons
yeah.
of
See, the
Star-
sponsor thread's gone, and I can't get to them anymore. It was like at the top, and now I can't even see them.
Yeah, but the sponsored link are shit. Like once you reach your quota, you don't appear there.
Okay. Oh,
It's-
okay.
How the
So
fuck did you manage to spend so much money and end up with such a piece of shit? That's the number one upvoted question. Nice. Wow. you learn
the
how
number
to do-
2 one is: Did you learn how to do
documentaries
documentaries by the end? Wow, that's brutal. That is brutal. Okay,
Oh.
I mean, this isn't a live. This is a video Q&A. Are they actually going to answer these questions?
It's not going to be live.
Okay, no.
Are they
way.
really gonna? Yeah, but there aren't like any other questions in here to ask, are there?
Well, okay. I'm gonna see if Jeff wants to come on Unfiltered. soon, and we'll see if he'll do one with us.
Wait, who's Jeff? The video guy?
Yeah, the producer.
Oh, don't do it. It'll be way too awkward. Don't do it.
Why? Are you gonna actually be filtered when he's on here, or what?
Do it? No, I won't be. It'll be awkward as fuck. You should just take him on climbing the ladder or whatever.
Oh my god! Look at Steven. He's like, no. Just like, no. You just go and do your thing with him.
Plus, he's really climbing the ladder. I mean, he started from knowing nothing and doing half a decent documentary. Not even.
Documentary. I will never get over it.
It's okay. By the end of once his documentary release, I'll know how to say the word.
Oh gosh. Well, okay. Yeah. So post your questions in this thread right here, guys. It's at the top. It's a sponsored link right now on r/StarCraft, and you can get some of your questions answered for Sons of StarCraft. But did we answer this guy's question? Do we think it's going to be soft PR answers even worth it? I don't know if it'd be soft PR answers or not, but I mean, what do you want them to say? I mean. Even, I'm not saying it's true or if it's not true, but even if it was,
they'll just come up with like passionate fan questions that they made themselves. Like, is there any like things we didn't know that you were filming and it was funny, but you couldn't show it? And then they'll answer like fluffy questions like that.
Okay, so
you have no other options.
Fluffy. Yeah. All right. Okay, that's gonna wrap things up. Then, why don't we wrap the show? And
can I read something real fast?
Oh yeah, sure.
I got somebody sent me a message on Reddit. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh.
This guy says, I've been concerned about citing win rates as indicators of balance for a while, but David Kip's balance blog discussing skill-adjusted win rates sets off my alarms for me mathematically. My background mathematically is a physics PhD, but with a lot of work in probability theory. I made a quick post outlining one of the concerns here, and then he links to different posts. I've seen some people citing literally one picture of an equation involved in the matchmaking system from a Q&A by Blizzard 3 years ago and saying, wow, such a complicated equation, guys. Blizzard obviously knows what they're doing. The truth is that to make any progress at all on these types of mathematical problems, you need to make some assumptions at the beginning, and all the maths that come afterwards, complex or not, relies upon those assumptions being reasonable. Without having a reference detailing the maths behind the system, the following is conjecture. But I suspect that one of the starting assumptions is that the variables in their role model, which describes race, strength, and player skill, are independent of each other. In particular, this is why I took issue with their claim that they can factor out player skill. It doesn't really mean anything if your initial assumption is invalid. The guy at Blizzard who designed this system is highly educated and will not be blind to this, but from an academic perspective, there are many math problems we can't solve, and therefore we make assumptions which are necessary to make progress towards something which we hope approximates the true answer. Anyways, rant over, but thanks for bringing this up on Unfiltered. Most people haven't thought about this enough to realize there is an issue. There you go. Damn.
Oh. Okay. TLDR.
The TLDR, here's the TLDR. Ready? Here's the other post he linked. The only metric that they have for player skill is their MMR. However, any given player's MMR and race strength are not independent of each other. So I'm highly suspicious of this factoring out process. I'll try to illustrate this with an example. Consider GM League win percentages in PvT. Let's suppose that Protoss is stronger in this matchup, resulting in some true win rate for Protoss that is higher than 50%, and that is what we would like to measure. No, I'm reading this, fuck you. If a Terran plays against a Protoss who has a higher MMR, the factoring out process makes the perfectly reasonable assumption that because the Terran player's MMR is lower, he has less than a 50% chance of winning the match. If the Terran player loses the game, because he was already expected to lose at some point by the mathematics, this loss counts less towards the Protoss win rate going higher than 50%. Yes. This is all perfectly fine up to this point, but here's the problem. If all GM Terran players are at a slight disadvantage against Protoss, combined with the fact that Protoss are overrepresented in GM, then this inevitably results in Terran players' MMR being artificially lower than it should be. When we then factor out the MMRs, we get an incorrect answer because the mathematics essentially is saying, yes, Terrans are losing a lot versus Protoss, but their MMR is in general lower, so I expect them to lose more. Therefore, the Protoss imbalance is not as bad as it looks. The net result is that this approach underestimates differences in race strength and artificially pulls win percentages towards 50%. This is obviously bad, so without seeing the details of the mathematics, I'm skeptical of these results. Damn! This guy had the perfect fucking post.
It's good.
Thank you.
Okay,
I'm done.
That's a good answer. Oh, man. That's the answer you were looking for earlier, right?
Yeah, that's
debatable,
exactly
bro.
kind of. No, it's not. That mathematically, I mean, it's debatable, but like you can dig a lot into the math there and start looking at probability and whatnot.
The reason there's not a lot of Terrans in GM is because they're not as active, and so when they're not as active, there's MMR decay. There's MMR decay, so then the MMR is lower.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that could
a
be
little
another
bit, yeah,
factor,
some
but
of
it's
that
all,
too,
we're getting
that's
into conjecture now. But like I said, you can make a lot of interesting arguments. I'm just saying that
I
to
agree.
post the stats and to go, look, 52%, it's balanced, isn't a good discussion, you know? Like, the stats are almost irrelevant because of what you're saying. There's other things you need to talk about, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
There you go.
All right, guys, let's wrap the show. Good stuff. I was planning on like having a pretty short show today, but it ended up being a full one on
Well,
5
Steven,
days,
was
4 days
AFK,
notice.
so
Yeah.
I tip my fedora to you, sir.
do you have it nearby?
Good stuff. But great having you on, desRow, as always. Good luck to you in your quest to WCS Premier League, and I'll be supporting you and voting for him in the Game On
guys.
tournament, guys. I just voted
Oh,
on
yeah,
stream.
GameOn.gg/vote. You can vote 4 times a day, guys.
Yeah, here you go,
Vote for
guys.
me. I linked it in chat since the .gg doesn't work on Twitch.
Here, I'll do. Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, it works now. What the hell?
Well, I mean, it doesn't link, but it
No, it
you can
does.
show it. Well, I mean, it just shows up as text right now. I just linked it.
Oh.
It just shows up as text.
Maybe it's because I have better Twitch TV and it shows as hyperlink.
Cool. But yeah, vote for your favorites there, guys, and then you'll see Steven casting them very, very soon.
Oh, shit.
But all right, Des, thanks for coming on. You want to do some shout-outs, thank yous at this point?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks to all my fans for supporting me and raising me to qualify for WCS. Thanks to my sponsor, Asus, Kingston, GG Tracker, and Microbyte. Sorry there. And yeah, I'm trying to make a guide a week on my YouTube, and the last guide was a proxy to Gate Stalker. You can look it up on youtube.com/desRowFighting. Everything desRowFighting, so Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, and Twitch. And yeah, thanks for watching my stream. And thanks for having me again. And thanks to Steven for being grumpy and lovable.
Grumpy?
Thanks to everybody
He wasn't
that
grumpy
supports me
today.
and listening.
He's
I'm never
always grumpy. No, you're
Check
always
out
grumpy.
destiny.gg/shave if you want to shave yourself. Check out destiny.gg/ting. Go check out the savings calculator. You can see how much you can save by using Ting. It's fucking awesome as fuck. And go to destiny.gg to read the blog about my composition challenge. If you are musically inclined, oh my god, you can make $100 just by remixing some easy fucking shit I posted. It'll be the easiest $100 you've ever earned in your life, except not because other people are competing against you now. Get fucked. Check out gameon.gg/vote if you want to vote for the players to win, and I think that's everything. Oh, Phoenix stuff. Thank you for Phoenix too. I love you guys. I think I'm getting their keyboard on today. Actually, it might be outside. I think. Oh shit.
Oh yeah, sweet. That it?
I think. Did I miss something?
I don't know. I just suddenly just stopped there, so I wasn't sure. I'll round things out by thanking you guys. Of course, we're doing the show with me today.
Oh, it's outside. It says it was
What?
delivered 1 hour ago. I'm so excited. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Oh my God. But I want to thank you guys for
unboxing.
watching too, and hopefully talked enough about Starbow. Everybody was like wanting to talk so much about Starbow today, so hopefully we satisfied your hunger for that. And YouTube, the VODs will be on my YouTube channel as always, youtube.com/ChanManV. Post them right after, and they're free there, guys. So find them there if you want to follow this channel. Get notified when this show or Value Town or Wednesday Night Sprites comes online. Then definitely follow it. I really appreciate it. Follow us all on Twitter at ChanManV, at Steven_Bonnell, and at desRow Fighting. And check these guys' streams out too if you don't already. I'm sure most of you do already, but twitch.com or twitch.tv or no destiny.gg and twitch.tv/desRowFighting. That's going to be it for Unfiltered this week, guys. We will see you next week. Later.
Right.
That was pretty good.